What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 30 of the Formula 1 2019 Noob Career Mode. This one is going to be for the French Grand Prix at the Paul Ricard circuit. We're just going to go and quickly check out the R&D stuff here. And it looks like one of our upgrades has failed, and it's the fuel consumption upgrade that has actually failed us this time. So that's unfortunate that we're only going to be getting one of the major engine upgrades that we asked for. But that's okay, because once we get through some of the practice programs and qualifying and the race, we should be able to put it back on and also get the other major engine upgrade put on it as well, which will be a big boost for us come time for them both to go onto the car. But for now, we are going to make our way through to qualifying here for the French Grand Prix. So sit back and hold on, because it's going to be a pretty quick time.
The circuit has rubbed it in with practice, but this is still a difficult session as our drivers fight for pole position. Welcome to qualifying for the French Grand Prix. Joining me in the commentary box today, Anthony Davidson. This is really the moment that the pressure picks up, Ant, I think. All of that data from practice will have gone into formulating the team's strategies today. It's obviously incredibly important to the teams to try and stick to the game plan. Is it just down to the driver to execute that?
Simple as that, isn't it, Crofty? The teams clearly have their strategies in place, but now it's time just to let them get out there and do what they do best. But you are right, it really is up to the drivers out there, not just to deliver on teams' predictions, but also to deal with the things they can't predict. Clear focus and a calm head, that's really what they need.
So we're going to go straight on to Q2 here, because we made it quite comfortably through Q1. Take a little bit of a wide line coming out of the exit of the final corner to start our lap.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
And this is actually fairly early on in qualifying 2 here. But we have previously set a time. We went out not long after we did that first lap, because the rain is actually coming this session as we go purple to the first sector. Going along this long back straight with the DRS wide open, jam it down to 4th gear, 3rd for the second part of that corner. And we'll see where we end up after the second sector is over here. And it's only a green sector, so not purple. Hold it flat through that right hand corner at the end of the straight. And only down to 5th gear for that long sweeping right hander that's very reminiscent of the corners at China. We move on to the final sector, the final couple of corners before we can complete the lap. We hit the ripple strip just right, we open up the DRS, we cross the line, and it's good enough for P2 only. So Lucas Weber pipped us there for the provisional pole in second qualifying. We get P2, Charles Leclerc getting P5, Valtteri Bottas P9. George Russell, who made it through Q1, has made it into Q2, only got 13th there, and Lance Stroll, for having a collision with me that I don't actually remember happening, has earned himself a 5-place grid penalty for the start of the race. So that is going to put him right on the back foot to begin things off here. But anyway, let's move on to Q3 now to see where the top 10 are going to be settled for starting the race, and it's going to be a damp Q3. As you can see, this is the first lap that we're going to put down. We did go out for a second lap later on, but it was definitely not as good as this one. have to take it a little bit more gingerly. We had no wet weather running at all in practice, so that's really made things difficult here for qualifying, especially when I'm still running the low downforce setup that I was running for the rest of qualifying while I'm going to be running in the race. This is going to be a dry race. Everything seems to be going fairly alright for the moment, at least. We got a fair bit of a gap to the cars behind us, so we're not going to be getting bothered by someone trying to overtake us using our slipstream. We come up to the end of the second sector now. Sebastian Vettel has gone provisional pole with a 1:45. As now we head into the long right-hander here. Kimi Räikkönen now does a 44.6. As we come up to the final couple of corners on the track, let's see what we can do. Weber does a 43.4, absolutely smashing everyone else in the times. We come off the final corner, head down the straightaway, and we go provisionally P3.
Complete, let's review our top three today.
We skip through to the end of qualifying now. We see Lucas Weber on the pole, Valtteri Bottas in P2, and myself all the way down in 10th position there. So that's not the way that we wanted to start qualifying. We see the update to the rivalries and the resource points now. We're down a little bit on the rivalries in this one, so we're drawing with Bottas, but we're still in front of Charles Leclerc. And it's only 132 resource point gain there from qualifying. We even lost a little bit of respect with Red Bull, and I think that was Racing Point as well.
Bad luck in qualifying. That's not exactly ideal. But there's no points for Saturday. Keep a cool head and make up for it in the race.
Alright, so let's get into the race for the French Grand Prix.
Home of the French Grand Prix, home race of the Renault team, and of course a number of the drivers on the grid as well. Of the 14 races held here up until 1990, 5 were won by a Frenchman. And 4 of those, of course, were Alain Prost. I wonder who'll add their name to that winners list today. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Now I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Great work from Lucas Weber yesterday sees him start from pole, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, and Vettel, Raikkonen, Perez, a Mercedes, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, Russell, Daniel Ricciardo, and Hamilton, Albon, Butler, Kevin Magnussen, and Lance Stroll. They've taken a grid penalty. Norris and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So quite a few penalties there being dealt out to some of the drivers. We're having a quick look at the strategy here, and because we didn't qualify on the medium tyres, it's going to be a one-stop start on the softs. So let's see what we can do here from 9th position. Go to 5 red lights, and we are underway, and it's not a bad start. We actually hold station there with Perez. In fact, we've got the advantage over Perez. So we should be able to get that position going into turn 1, and in fact we're going to get Raikkonen as well. I'm pretty sure that was Vettel on his outside that we got as well, with a double overtake into turn 1. In fact, you could probably chalk that up as a triple overtake. We're going to have a look at Gasly as well. Couldn't quite get it done, just didn't quite have enough room there, as we give him a little bit of a tap going through one of the slowest parts on the track. But now, with us being on this back straight, we'll have the slipstream, and we've even got the engine advantage over Gasly, so we should be able to get the overtake made on him quite easily here. As now we're going to be staring at the back of our rival Charles Leclerc. And Charles even has Max Verstappen sitting there just in front of him. So it should be pretty easy pickings for us right now just to get past these guys, as long as we can get all the overtakes done on this back straight. And see, Leclerc and Verstappen have swapped positions in that flat-out right-hander as we go into the slow right-hander. We take a little bit too much curve and get a little bit sideways, which definitely made us lose a little bit of space to these two in front of us. But that will not deter us in any way, shape or form. We are determined to try and get whatever positions we can here. As we end lap number 1, and we are still right up the chuff of Verstappen here. And in fact, we might actually have enough to try and get the overtake made of him. We go to the outside of turn 1. We run a little bit wide, but we do indeed take 4th position away from Verstappen. Now we move on to the middle stage of lap 3. We've got DRS on Charles Leclerc on the back straight. Charles actually going for a move on Bottas. Bottas locked it up slightly on the inside there. And these guys are taking up the whole track, so I think I'm going to do a little bit of a Ricardo here. We get past Charles, and we get past Bottas using the off-track area of the straightaway, and we get both moves done before the right-hander. Now we move on to the end of lap 5, and this is going to be our in lap, and this is actually the first time that I attempted to get into this pit lane. The pit lane got changed in the new update that came out a couple ago, I think. So we managed to get into the pit lane without too much drama, and we're out of it very quickly too. Not getting blocked at all there. It looks like Lucas Weber was in the pits as well with us, just up the road a little bit. So hopefully we can be able to get some DRS off of some of these slower cars that may be separating myself and Weber. We move on to lap 7 now, and it looks like Weber has actually got himself caught up in a pack of cars as well, as all of them go off to pit. And now we are right up on the back of Lucas Weber here. We wouldn't get him in the DRS zone there because he had DRS as well, but now we've got it where he doesn't. We pull to the inside and we make a power move to get the job done and take the lead of this race. Now we move on to lap 11. We're counting down the laps until the end of the race. Lucas Weber has caught back up to me. He's got the run. He's on the right. He's off track completely as he's trying to make that move. We come into contact. Now trying to squeeze him down on the apex. He gives me a tap and sends us around. Lucas Weber has definitely started to get the gloves up. He is getting vicious, and now we're under attack from Raikkonen as well. We go through the fast right-hander here, and Raikkonen got us, but coming down to the next couple of corners, we get a run and we get him back. Now we move on to the final lap of the race. There is quite a bit of a gap here between myself and Weber. So we're going to try and close it up as much as we can and see if we can utilize the DRS zone to gain the advantage back on Weber. Unfortunately, it looks like we might be a little bit too far back as we're heading into this section, but the AI is very slow in just that one particular little section, and they seem to be faster everywhere else. We head into the DRS zone now, and we do have the DRS on him. He doesn't have DRS, so hopefully we'll be able to use the slipstream with DRS. We've got the rich fuel mixture going as well, but we don't have enough room to get it done. But we have indeed closed right up on his tail. And now it's all about trying to catch and pass Lucas Weber. We go through the flat out section with a slight lift. Because of the dirty air, we didn't want to wash out of the corner. We go purple to the second sector as well. And we go for a big inside dive. He blocks it off by squeezing us onto the apex. And we're going to do a repeat move on him like what we did on Raikkonen just the lap previous. And we take the lead of the race, but it's not going to be over yet. The intensity has just stepped up as we're in the final couple of corners here. Weber is just behind us, but that doesn't mean that the race is over. We see the checkered flag in sight, and we win the French Grand Prix.
Great job. You've done everything we wanted today.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. Quick look at how the driver's standings have changed. Our current championship leader dominated the track, securing a win and further increasing their advantage. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, I'm going to have to give it to the Mercedes driver. That was a commanding performance
So
today.
there we go, we
Very
got the
impressive
win,
indeed.
we
It's
got
time to see
fastest
how
lap
things
there
are shaping
on the
up
final
in the
lap,
Constructors'
and we get
Championship.
driver of the
Mercedes
day as
continue
well.
to extend their
Lucas
lead.
Weber sitting there in
After an
P2
event like
who
that,
hit me
who
after
knows
the
what
line.
sport has in store for us
Valtteri
next time?
Bottas, our
Be sure to
teammate,
join us
managing
again
to get
as we
himself into
continue to
4th
bring you the
position
latest
to
excitement in
help
Formula One.
extend our lead in the constructors there. Charles Leclerc ending up P5 as well. We scroll down a little bit here, and we can see Devin Butler down in 19th, and George Russell all the way down in P20. So those guys not having good races this time out. We'll have a look at the standings now, and we have got a fairly big lead here over Lucas Weber now, who's still in P2. Lewis Hamilton still somehow sitting in 3rd. Valtteri Bottas moved up to 4th. And constructors, we are untouchable. So on that note, it's time for us to start going to our interview with the one and only Claire.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You and Lucas weren't far apart by the finish. Do you enjoy racing against him? How does it feel, sharing a Formula One podium with your old F2 teammate? You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you? What do you think made the difference between this weekend and last weekend? Great. Well, that's everything.
Now it's time for us to go and check out the resource point and the rivalry updates, and we got all 5 ticks on our 2 rivals here, which is going to boost us quite considerably to about halfway through on the little charts there. We'll have a look at the resource points as well, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we get the team bonus as well, which is 500 points, which we do get quite easily. And that brings us up to 1,800 points that we can spend on upgrades. It also looks like that we've regained all the reputation we've lost with all the teams.
Great work this weekend.
And we've also
It's
got
fantastic to
contract
see you up on that
negotiation. I'm going to show you guys what I asked for here to just smooth it over really quickly. We went for 5th in qualifying, 5th in the race, first driver, hard team goals, and everything down there level 3. And it turns
Okay,
out
that proposal
I was
looks good.
devaluing myself
It seems
a
all
lot.
parties are happy with the deal, so it'll commence at the next race weekend.
So with that, we're going to move on to the R&D tree now to see what we can do to further upgrade our car. Now we do want to put on this ECU upgrade that failed last episode. We're also going to put on this magnetic compound upgrade, and that is going to leave us with not many points left. So with that, we are going to end the episode here, guys. Don't forget, if you have missed an episode or you want to watch from the beginning, to go to the playlist of all the Formula 1 2019 Noob Career Mode. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as well. As usual, we'll leave you with the highlights as provided by Formula 1 2019. And until the next episode, I'll see you guys next time.